Welcome to the Open to Hope Show. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Horsley. This show is brought to you by the Open to Hope Foundation as in partnership with the Compassionate Friends. Well, we have got a great guest today. I'm excited to have Sue on. I have met Sue at the Compassionate Friends meetings. She is an inspiration, and it's just kind of amazing to think about the fact that her only son was murdered. And only, about 5 years ago, and she's had a difficult and painful journey, and the murderer was never found. But she's found new purpose in life, which helps to transform her mourning into joy and her scars into stars. And I love what we're going to be talking about because Sue's story offers hope and healing to all of you and all of us who have and are struggling with grief. Well, welcome to the show, Sue.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to share my story.
It's so wonderful to have you on it. And it's only, been 5 years since your son was murdered.
God's good, and we move on. And it was very difficult for me because I'm the one that found him. And so I still have that mental image on my mind. But I'm doing okay. God's good, and I just move forward.
So how that grief is pretty traumatizing. How were you that first year or first months? How did you get through it? I mean, really?
Well, it was very, very difficult. From the time I found him, I was kind of thrown into a pit of despair and a dark pit. And those, probably the first year was extremely difficult. I lost my purpose in life. I lost hope. I wanted to give up. I felt like I'd never be happy again. I felt like I had nothing to look forward to. The most important factor is having God, for me, having God on the inside helps me deal with trials on the outside. I certainly go to church and but it's the one thing I think for me has been, my hope has come from the Lord and my strength has come from the Lord. And this is something that I don't think I could have done it without him. I know I couldn't have, because I was really very depressed, probably suicidal, except I didn't have the energy to do it. And I just had given up. And I just found one day, I just thought, this is ridiculous. I'm miserable. I've got to get my act together. And I don't think my son would have wanted me to spend the rest of my life in depression. Mm-hmm. And I know he wouldn't. So I just decided that I needed to do something about it. And I just turned the first thing I had to do, to be honest with you, I had to get out of that self-pity pit. Self-pity is something that's very easy to do. It's a slippery slope, and it's hard to get out of it. And once you get out of it, you sometimes slip back in it, and I still do occasionally.
Now, you never find out who murdered your son, and how is that? How did that play into it? I mean, what do you do with that unknown?
Well, that's still a very difficult thing for me, and that's still something I struggle with. When you lose a child to suicide or to murder, mine was murder. It was a home invasion, and they shot him in the back of the head, and of course he never knew. But I was very angry with the police department, the local police department, and I'm still very angry with them. It's been 5 years, and they really aren't very interested in doing anything about it. It's called a cold case, and that makes me angry. I felt like they should be working on it still, and so I have to, I've had to get over the anger towards the police and towards the media. The media was awful. I have to say that, the day after my son was murdered, I had a TV person call me for an interview and asked me what kind of gun killed my son. And I was really upset. And I asked him if they had any children. He said, I've got a 3-year-old. And I said, well, if your 3-year-old was run over by a car, would you care if it was a Chevy or a Ford?
Right. Yeah.
So, I've had to, that's part of the circumstances that you have to deal with. And it's a complicated, as you well know, it's a complicated grief when you have suicide or murder.
Right. Right. Well, I noticed that you and he had a natural food store together for many years. I wondered, did food help you? Do you have any thoughts about it? Or there's anything special that you eat that you found helpful?
Well, it did help me. I owned a natural food store for 28 years. And one of the things that I took that helped me, and I still take it on occasion, is St. John's wort.
Mm.
I'm 80 years old, but I'm not on any medication. And I feel that I'm very thankful that I'm not on medication. And the reason that I'm not is because I take vitamins.
Mm-hmm.
And I did take St. John's wort. I didn't do any professional counseling. It didn't take any antidepressants. It may work for some, but for me, I felt that I could do it with the St. John's wort and the Lord and myself.
What about you were a writer before. You'd written a couple of books before your son was killed, hadn't you?
Yes, I had. I'd written 2 other ones, and I was working, believe it or not, I was working on this book, that my last one that was published. It was Turning Your Scars into Stars. And the reason I was working on it, I had some issues in my life. I'd had a business partner that I had given power of attorney to when my mom died, and I had to take her body back to Indiana that had taken money. I have a husband that's kind of a wayward, I guess you'd say, husband. But I was working on that, on the scars of forgiveness and the scars of bitterness. And I had just started working, interesting enough, the day before my son was killed, on the scars of grief. And so I then changed the title a little bit and added From Mourning to Joy.
And how was that for you to do the change on it? That must have really, been a thoughtful place for you. All of a sudden, your book is changing and you're learning from your own experience, right?
Yes, and I think one of the things that I would say to people that, that have lost is to do journaling. Journaling has helped me. Of course, I enjoy writing, but I think getting your feelings out there on paper helps you. And it's like a catharsis or something, and it really makes you feel better.
Mm-hmm. And you're a traveling girl, and you're writing a travel book now?
Yes, my latest one is Globetrotting 101, How You Travel More for Less. And I just went to London, and I get great deals.
Are you on your own? Do you do it on your alone?
Yes, I went by myself. I had a friend that was supposed to go, and she was afraid she would die of pneumonia and get the flu over in London, so she backed out, but I went by myself.
And talk about being by yourself. I've seen you operate at the Compassionate Friends. You're never alone.
I'm not alone. I have lots of friends, but I'm okay. I think one of the things that has helped me is being an only child. And I was used to doing that. And also I've learned to be, I think, on people who have lost, who are looking for hope, they need to find a purpose in their life. And my purpose in life, I've found, is to work with the orphanage in Africa. And that has helped me. When you help, when you build bridges of hope for others, you can build a bridge of hope for yourself. So it helps you.
So you were involved with Tanzania before your son was killed, weren't you?
Yes, I was involved. I've been involved with that. That started in 2012.
Well, now tell me, you started a chapter of Compassionate Friends in Texas.
Yes, I did. I've started one here, and my purpose in life, as I said, is to help the orphanage, but also I really want to help other parents that are going through. I've been very fortunate that I've been pretty resilient and able to still have joy in my life. And I want to help other parents. And it's just, unfortunately, so many of them kind of build walls instead of building bridges. They build walls around themselves and they isolate themselves. And I would like to encourage them to build bridges of hope.
I love that, bridges of hope. Well, fabulous. Now, tell me, if you have had a child die suddenly by murder, suicide, whatever, what is your advice to me?
Well, I think first of all, you have to be kind to yourself and compassionate with yourself and realize that it's okay to grieve. There's no books that say, you have to grieve in this amount of time, give yourself time. But after a while, you need to, as I said, you need to start looking at how you're going to change your life, how you're going to transform your life. And one of the things is being grateful for what you have.
Really important.
That is so important. I'm so thankful that my son's not in a nursing home laying there. He's in heaven now, and I'm thankful that I had him 50 years. I think another one is looking how you can build hope. And I love your show, Open to Hope. I think that you have to build a bridge, as I said, over that sea of sorrows. And, try to get over to the other side so that you can start living again.
I love that, the bridge over the sea of sorrow. I think that's true. And gratitude. I know you have a nice website.
I have SueHamby.com, and they can look under YouTube, Dr. Sue Hamby, or they can email me at sue.hamby2@AOL, or they can call me. My phone is always open, 254-228-6473.
Well, thank you so much, Sue. You're an amazing person and an inspiration, and I look forward to seeing you. Hopefully you'll be at the Compassionate Friends National Conference. Thank you, and thanks everybody for listening to this show today. And we will always want to remind you that if you've lost hope, please lean on ours until you find your own, and God bless.